My wife betrayed me after 17 years of marriage and ran off with her ex. My daughter told me her mom deserved to be with her real love. So in court, I relinquished my rights as a husband and father, leaving even the judge stunned. Hey, Reddit I Plus community, I'm Raymond Holt, 45 years old. For 17 years, I believed I'd crafted the perfect life. A loving wife, a daughter, a successful business, and a home that seemed unbreakable. My wife, Lydia, was the kind of woman everyone called elegant. She had a knack for smiling at just the right time, making guests feel welcome, and playing the role of a committed spouse. Our daughter, Sophie, 16, was my entire world. Or so I thought. I ran a construction company I'd started from nothing in my early 20s. Long hours, rough hands, and a vision. That's all I had back then. I worked every day like I was still scraping by, just to ensure Lydia and Sophie never lacked for anything. But comfort has a way of sparking curiosity, and when curiosity mixes with past flames, it destroys everything. One evening, I got home earlier than usual. The house was still, but something felt wrong. Lydia was in the kitchen, phone in hand, smiling in a soft, private way I hadn't seen in years. When she saw me, she flinched, too fast. "Who was that?" I asked. "Just an old college friend," she replied, avoiding my gaze. But later that night, I checked our shared laptop. She hadn't cleared the browser history. She'd gotten careless. There they were, messages, hundreds of them. A guy named Martin Blake, her college sweetheart, the one she swore was long forgotten. They'd been talking for months, meeting at coffee shops, attending conferences, sneaking away for weekends with her sister. My hands trembled as I read through the messages. I wasn't ready for what I found. "He treats me well, but he's not you. He's predictable, dull. You were always my true love. I can't wait to be free again. Sophie gets it. She says I deserve happiness." That last part hit the hardest. Sophie, my own daughter, supporting it. The next morning, I confronted Lydia in the kitchen. She didn't deny it. She didn't even hesitate. "I'm done pretending, Ray," she said, placing her coffee mug down like we were discussing chores. "Martin and I have something real. Something I never had with you." I glanced at Sophie standing in the doorway. She wouldn't look at me. "You knew?" I asked. She murmured, "Mom deserves her true love." That was the moment something inside me snapped, but not the way they expected. It wasn't heartbreak, it was clarity. 2 months later, we were in a courtroom. Lydia sat with her smug attorney, Sophie beside her, and Martin behind them, grinning like a victor. I wore my old gray suit, the one from our wedding day, a reminder of how far we'd fallen. The judge, Judge Whitmore, an older man with gentle eyes, looked between us and sighed. "Mr. Holt," he said, "you're willingly giving up the house, joint accounts, and alimony claims. You understand what this means?" I nodded calmly. "Yes, Your Honor, my wife deserves her true love. My daughter made that clear." Lydia's lawyer smirked, whispering something to her. Sophie was radiant, practically glowing, as if this was her triumph. "Mr. Holt," the judge said again, "you're certain?" "The construction company stays with me," I said. "I built it before I met Lydia. Everything else, the house, the savings, the cars, belongs to her." Lydia chuckled softly, turning to her lawyer. "We don't need his beat-up trucks anyway," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The judge's gavel fell, divorce finalized. Sophie hugged her mom. Martin beamed, and I walked out without a backward glance. My new apartment was small, 2 rooms above a bakery. The air always carried a faint scent of sugar and coffee, far better than the stench of betrayal I'd left behind. For 3 weeks, no calls, no texts, just silence and work. I poured myself into my company, landing bigger contracts, securing government projects, growing fast. I hadn't realized how much energy I'd spent trying to be a good husband until I no longer had to. Then one Tuesday, my phone rang, unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me pick up. "Dad," Sophie's voice, quiet and unsteady, not the bold tone she'd used in court. "What's wrong?" I asked, my voice flat. "Dad, please, it's Mom. We need help." I leaned back in my chair. "What happened?" "Martin left," she said, her voice breaking. "He only wanted Mom because he thought you were loaded. When he realized the business was yours and Mom only got the house, he said it was a mistake. He took everything, the furniture, her jewelry, and just left." I stayed quiet. "Dad," she whispered, "the house, Mom can't keep up with the mortgage. You signed it over, remember? The bank's taking it. She's been selling stuff online to cover bills." "I had to drop out of college," she added. I finally spoke, my voice steady. "That's unfortunate." "Dad, please," she begged. "I know we screwed up. Mom knows too. We shouldn't have said what we said." I could hear Lydia sobbing faintly in the background. "Dad," Sophie pleaded, "can we stay with you just for a bit?" I took a deep breath. Sophie, I said quietly, your mom made her choice. You backed it. You both said she deserved her true love. Now you live with that truth. Please, Dad, she sobbed, but I hung up. Months later, I heard through friends that Lydia's house had been foreclosed. Martin was engaged to someone 20 years younger. Sophie was crashing with a friend, working part-time, trying to piece her life together. Meanwhile, I bought 3 new trucks, expanded my business into 2 more states. I even bought a new house, small, modern, quiet, no echoes of the past. Every evening I sat on the porch with a glass of bourbon, watching the sunset, thinking about that courtroom moment. The day I gave it all away was the day I reclaimed my freedom. Sometimes losing everything is how you gain everything. And sometimes love doesn't end in pain, it ends in peace. 6 months passed since that call. Life settled into a steady, calm rhythm I hadn't known in years. I woke up early, made my own coffee, and drove to work without arguments, tears, or accusations haunting the house. The silence that once choked me now felt like a breath of fresh air. My company, Holt Construction, was thriving. I'd just secured a city contract that tripled our revenue. My employees, many of whom I'd trained myself, respected me. My accountant joked that I was divorced and killing it. I didn't date, didn't party, didn't chase romance. I wasn't bitter. I just wasn't ready to let anyone into the space I'd fought so hard to reclaim. I thought Lydia and Sophie were out of my life for good, but life has a twisted sense of humor. It was a Friday evening in late summer when I heard a knock. I opened the door and there they were. Lydia looked nothing like the woman I'd known. Her hair, once flawless, was dull and tied back messily. Her clothes hung loosely and the spark in her eyes was gone. Sophie stood behind her, gripping a worn duffel bag, eyes red from tears. "Ray," Lydia began, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Can we come in?" I crossed my arms. "You can talk from there," her lips quivered. "Please. It's been rough, we don't have anywhere else to go. The bank took the house and Sophie's friend kicked us out. We've been at a motel, but—" I cut her off. "Why not stay with Martin? Isn't he your true love?" She flinched. "Martin's gone. He lied about everything. His job, his money, he used me. I know I messed up, but Ray, we were married for 17 years. Doesn't that mean something?" I leaned against the doorframe, calm. It did. Once, Sophie stepped forward, voice shaking. "Dad, please don't be like this. Mom's been sick. She's depressed. We lost everything. We need you." I looked at her. "My help. The same help you said Mom didn't need because she deserved better." She started crying. "I was stupid, okay? I thought she was right. I didn't see how much you did for us." For a moment, I almost felt sorry. Almost. But then I remembered the courtroom. The laughter, the way they looked at me like I was nothing. That pity faded fast. The manipulation began. They didn't leave that night. Lydia called again the next day, then the next. Emails, texts. Even handwritten letters like we were in another era. She tried every tactic. Guilt, memories, even flirtation. One message read, "You always said we were a family, Ray. Families forgive. Can't we try again?" Another more desperate, "You don't have to take me back as your wife. Just let us stay until we figure things out. Please, for Sophie." Then came the last one, sharp and bitter. "You're heartless. I made one mistake, and you act like you're perfect. You'll die alone, Ray." That one made me laugh. Because what she didn't get was I wasn't alone. I had peace, I had purpose, and I had freedom. A few weeks later, Lydia showed up at my office. My secretary, Carolyn, a no-nonsense woman, buzzed me. "There's a woman here for you," she said cautiously. "She says it's urgent." When I stepped into the lobby, Lydia stood there, clutching a folder of papers. Her eyes avoided the curious glances of my staff. "Ray, please, just listen," she said softly. I gestured her into my office. She sat across from me, fidgeting with the folder. "It's about Sophie. She's trying to go back to school. But we can't afford tuition. I was hoping you could help just this once." I stared at her. "You mean the tuition I was already paying before you both tossed me out of your lives?" Tears filled her eyes. "I was foolish, Ray. I was lonely and thought Martin cared. But he didn't. He just wanted what you built. I know I don't deserve your help, but Sophie—" I raised a hand to stop her. "Lydia, let me save you the effort. You made your choice, now you deal with it." Her jaw tightened. "You can't just erase 17 years. "I didn't," I said. "You did, I just signed the papers." She opened the folder. Divorce papers, photos of Sophie, unpaid bills, all laid out like evidence in a case I'd already closed. I stood and handed them back. "Take these with you. My company doesn't do handouts, not anymore." Lydia's face hardened. "You've changed," I smiled. "No, Lydia, I just stopped being the man you could trample." Sophie's turn. A week later, Sophie came alone. She looked older, worn out. She sat in a cafe near my office, nervously stirring her coffee as I watched. "Dad," she said quietly. I don't expect forgiveness, but I need you to know I'm sorry. Truly, Mom's a wreck. I've been trying to hold things together. I didn't interrupt. I let her speak. I thought she was right, that love was everything, but you were the one who worked, who paid for it all, who was always there. I didn't see it then. I do now, her voice cracked. Please, Dad, just help Mom get back on her feet. She's not the same. I sighed and finally spoke. Sophie, I'll always be your father, but I can't fix the consequences of choices you both made. You said Mom deserved her true love, and I agreed. I gave her everything to make it happen. Now that it's gone, I'm not your backup plan. She nodded slowly, wiping tears. I understand. As she stood to leave, she paused at the door. Dad, I hope you find someone who truly sees you. I already did, I said, in the mirror. 1 year later. By the next year, Lydia had filed for bankruptcy. She was renting a small apartment in a rough part of town. Sophie got back into college on a scholarship. She sent me occasional texts. Brief updates, polite. I always replied kindly, but never opened the door. Meanwhile, I was doing better than ever. I opened 2 more branches of my company, started mentoring young entrepreneurs, and even began dating someone new. Elena, a woman who didn't care about wealth or status, just peace. One night, Sophie called. Dad, she said softly, Mom's been asking about you. She saw you on the news winning that business award. I chuckled. Tell her I said thanks. There was a pause. I think she still loves you, Sophie said. I smiled faintly. That's fine. I stopped loving who she became a long time ago. Sometimes people mistake kindness for weakness. They think forgiveness means access and silence means agreement. But I learned real strength isn't in vengeance. It's in letting go. When I walked away from Lydia in that courtroom, I didn't just lose a marriage. I shed a life built on deception. Now, every morning when I start my truck, I glance at the small sticker on the dashboard, one Sophie gave me when she was 5. It says, Dad's the builder. She didn't know then what it would mean years later because she was right. I'm the builder of homes, dreams, and my own peace. When people show you who they are, believe them. And when they realize what they lost, make sure you're too far gone to care.